Beneath the layer of outlaw motorcycle gang culture, an unsettling narrative unfolds. Mick Hawi, a forbidding figurehead of Comanchero, was pursuing power and influence until a fateful day altered his life. The headlines screamed violence and revenge, however. The true story behind Mick Hawi's murder is more twisted than you can imagine. Join us as we delve deeper into the Comanchero's history, living through the rise, reign, and chilling execution of a leader whose legacy is engraved in blood. Mahmoud Mick Hawi was born into a Sunni Muslim family on May 9, 1980, in Beirut, Lebanon. At the age of 5, following the Lebanese Civil War, Hawi, along with his parents, brother, and 3 sisters, relocated to Sydney, Australia. Hawi attended the Punchbowl Boys High School for his early education. Mick's path took a turn as soon as he turned 15 in 1995, when he encountered his childhood sweetheart, Caroline Gonzalez, and they began dating. Leaving high school at 16, Hawi joined his father's spray painting business before eventually purchasing a car detailing business. In 2002, Gonzalez underwent a conversion to Islam before marrying Hawi. They celebrated their union with a private Muslim wedding and later welcomed 2 sons into their family. Mick Hawi joined the Comanchero Motorcycle Club in 1998, quickly gaining prominence within the group due to his imposing stature and muscular physique. Hawi demonstrated his leadership abilities as he led a group of young Comancheros to meet Comanchero's supreme leader, Jock Ross, at his residence. During this encounter, Hawi announced the withdrawal of the group's support from Jock Ross, resulting in a physical altercation where the older leader was stripped of his club colors and Harley Davidson. This event further elevated the status of Hawi, turning him into a compelling candidate for the positions of new national president and supreme commander of the Comanchero. At the age of 22, Hawi assumed the role of national president, taking charge of the outlaw motorcycle gang. Despite his involvement in the leadership of the club, Hawi also demonstrated business success and maintained a loving family life. Unlike other gang members, Hawi didn't engage in fierce crimes except getting charged with driving and language abuse offenses and getting accused of possessing a restricted substance in 2005. As per reports, Comanchero at the time was generating substantial profits from the drug trade, attracting several rivals for Hawi. In November 2007, Hawi pulled through a shooting incident that targeted his car, which was riddled with bullets, including one lodged in the back seat. While Hell's Angels were suspected of the attack due to their rivalry with the Comanchero, no conclusive evidence was found to link them to the shooting. During that time frame, a member of Hell's Angels, Peter Zarvas, was released from the jail and opened a tattoo parlor in Bay Street, Brighton, Les Sands. Unhappy with the establishment, Hawi engaged in discussions with the president of Hell's Angels, Derek Wynahue, to address the issues. However, tensions escalated when Anthony Zarvas, younger brother of Peter Zarvas, invaded the meeting with a shotgun, inciting the scuffle where one Comanchero was struck in the head. Subsequently, the tattoo parlor was bombarded with bullets the next day, and a few weeks later the parlor was destroyed by fire, bringing an end to the contentious establishment. However, this marked not the final confrontation between Mick Hawi and Hell's Angels, particularly the Zarvas brothers. In 2009, Hawi was flying from Melbourne to Sydney on a domestic flight with 4 other Comancheros when he spotted Derek Wynahue on the same flight. As per the witnesses, Hawi and Wynahue had a verbal exchange, and Comancheros shouted, "You're a dead man walking." Subsequently, both leaders called for backup at the Sydney airport, leading to a blood-curdling brawl between Comancheros and the members of Hell's Angels. The altercation involved the use of metal poles as weapons. The brawl reached its tragic conclusion when Anthony Zarvas was fatally kicked and assaulted. CCTV footage revealed the lack of remorse from the Comancheros, who seemed to take pleasure in brutally attacking Anthony Zarvas, repeatedly striking his head with a 17-kilogram bollard. As Hawi exited, he shouted, "You're dead! You're fucking dead! Next time we see you, you're going to have bullet holes through you." Following the incident, Hawi became the most wanted man in Australia, and his reputation as a bikie was entirely ruined. Hawi was charged with second-degree murder and affray. On November 1st, 2011, he was convicted of the charges and handed a 28-year prison sentence. However, on September 4th, 2014, Hawi pleaded guilty to manslaughter, resulting in a reduction of his sentence to 6 years. Meanwhile, the Comancheros appointed a new national president for the motorcycle club, named Mark Buddle. In 2015, Hawi was granted parole, despite efforts to maintain a low profile and adhere to parole restrictions, which included avoiding contact with the Zarva's family or Comancheros and refraining from possessing firearms or prohibited drugs. Hawi found himself entangled once again in the world of organized crime. On February 15th, 2018, after a workout session at Rockdale Fitness First Gym, Hawi was seated in his car in the parking lot when an armed and masked assailant approached his window, firing multiple shots at his face. Subsequently, the gunman sprinted back toward the getaway car and fled the scene with his associate. Hawi was rushed to the hospital before he was treated at the scene by paramedics. However, Hawi surrendered to his wounds and suffered a fatal heart attack hours later at the hospital. Soon after the incident, the police commenced an investigation into the masked men who had fired shots at Hawi. Their search led them to a burned Mercedes, the getaway car used in the escape. In a CCTV footage, two men dressed in black are seen running away from the car. Hawi, despite having a criminal history, didn't appear on any police intelligence reports. Speculation arose about a possible bounty on his head, but Hawi continued his daily routine, regularly going to the gym, seemingly unfazed by potential threats. After 6 months of investigation and research, police detained 3 men in connection with the crime: Yusuf Nazlioglu, accused of being a gunman; Jamal El-Jadi, accused of being the driver; and Ahmad Dudar, accused of disposing of the getaway car. Ahmad was found guilty of the crime and sentenced to 3 years and 4 months in prison without parole. However, in the case of Nazlioglu and El-Jadi, there wasn't any direct evidence linking them to Hawi's murder. However, soon police discovered that 2 gunmen, after setting fire to the getaway car, escaped in a silver Toyota. A firearm with the DNA of Nazlioglu was found in the vehicle. According to Hawi's widow, Nazlioglu and Hawi had a close relationship following Hawi's release from prison. However, their friendship soured after a Central Coast fishing trip where Nazlioglu's rude behavior embarrassed Hawi. Hawi told Gonzalez that he couldn't tolerate the behavior of Nazlioglu anymore, and their friendship was finished. Following a week of deliberation on September 9th, 2020, the jury found both Nazlioglu and El-Jadi not guilty of murder. However, Nazlioglu was sentenced to 3 years in prison for an unrelated charge of possession of a firearm. He was released in September 2021, only to be shot dead on June 27, 2022, in the parking of his apartment building in the presence of his partner. Nazlioglu later died of wounds while getting treatment at the hospital. The horrifying murders of both Mick Hawi and Yusuf Nazlioglu demonstrate how cruel the underworld life could be. Despite Mick Hawi's evident affection for his family and friends, coupled with his leadership role in the Comanchero gang, he ultimately met a grim and twisted fate.